What happens when you try to rob a bank, but instead of a ski mask and a getaway car, you use fake data and a collection of lies? From the affluent suburbs of Westchester County, New York, emerged a young woman named Charlie Javice. Born to a life coach mother and a hedge fund manager father, Charlie seemed destined for success. Her privileged upbringing provided access to the finest education, culminating in her acceptance to the prestigious Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. This hallowed institution, known for churning out captains of industry, became the backdrop for Charlie's early entrepreneurial endeavors. Charlie's ambition was evident from the start. She possessed what seemed like a sharp intellect and an uncanny ability to sell her ideas. One of the first hints of trouble surfaced during Charlie's pursuit of a prestigious $100,000 scholarship. This award, designed to encourage entrepreneurial endeavors, required applicants to abandon their formal education and dive headfirst into the business world. Ironically, Charlie's own company, Frank, would later center around making college more accessible. Judges found her demeanor abrasive, her questions laced with name-dropping and a sense of entitlement. Despite never receiving an offer, she claimed to have turned it down, a blatant fabrication quickly debunked by the scholarship organizers. This early display of dishonesty became a recurring theme throughout her career. Undeterred by these early setbacks, Charlie continued to cultivate her image as a rising star in the business world. Charlie excelled at crafting compelling narratives, weaving tales of social impact and global change to captivate investors and media alike. In 2011, her efforts paid off when she landed on Fast Company's prestigious list of the 100 most creative people in business. However, beneath the surface, a darker truth was beginning to take shape. In 2013, armed with a freshly minted bachelor's degree from Wharton, Charlie Javice set out to make her mark on the world. She incorporated TAPD Inc., a for-profit company that would later become her ticket to notoriety, albeit for all the wrong reasons. This company, eventually rebranded as Frank, aimed to revolutionize the way students navigate the often daunting process of applying for financial aid. Frank's mission resonated with many, particularly those who had experienced firsthand the complexities and frustrations of the financial aid system. Charlie, with her innate ability to tap into the zeitgeist, presented herself as a champion for students, a disruptor determined to level the playing field. However, behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding, one marked by ethical lapses and a disregard for the very students Frank claimed to serve. Charlie's early days at the helm of Frank were fraught with challenges. Her leadership style, often described as abrasive and controlling, created friction within the company. In 2018, she faced legal action from Adi Omasi, a co-founder of Frank, who accused her of wage theft in Israel. The court ultimately ruled in Omasi's favor, ordering Charlie to pay the owed wages. Despite these setbacks, Charlie remained undeterred. She continued to court media attention, publishing an opinion piece in the New York Times titled "The 8 Most Confusing Things About FAFSA." Undeterred by accusations of misleading information and legal battles, Charlie Javice continued to expand Frank's reach. By 2021, the platform had grown beyond its initial scope of simplifying the FAFSA process. It now offered a range of services, including scholarship resources, financial aid appeals assistance, and even a marketplace for online courses offered by various colleges. However, this expansion came at a cost. As Frank's claims became increasingly detached from reality, the company claimed to have partnerships with numerous colleges, allowing students to enroll in their courses through Frank's platform for a fee. However, many of these colleges were unaware of their inclusion on the website, and Frank had no actual agreements in place. As Frank's profile grew, so too did the scrutiny surrounding its practices. In 2019, the Federal Trade Commission issued a warning letter to Charlie, expressing concerns about potentially misleading information being presented to students on Frank's platform. Despite the FTC's warning, Charlie remained undeterred, continuing to promote Frank aggressively and court investors. However, the cracks in this facade were becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. As Frank entered 2021, Charlie Javice set her sights on a new target, which was Wall Street. Flush with the success of her carefully crafted image as a financial technology disruptor, she aimed to secure a lucrative exit for herself and her investors. JP Morgan Chase, a behemoth in the financial world, emerged as a potential suitor. The banking giant, eager to expand its reach into the student loan market, saw Frank as a valuable acquisition target. Charlie skillfully leveraged JP Morgan's ambitions, presenting Frank as a company on the cusp of explosive growth. She boasted of having amassed a vast database of over 4 million student users, a claim that would later prove to be wildly inflated. The negotiations between Frank and JP Morgan moved swiftly, fueled by the bank's eagerness to close the deal. Charlie, sensing their desperation, pressed her advantage, securing a staggering $175 million purchase price. The deal, announced in September 2021, sent shockwaves through the financial technology industry. As part of the acquisition agreement, Charlie was to receive a $20 million retention bonus, a testament to JP Morgan's belief in her abilities. She was also offered a prestigious position as a managing director at the bank, tasked with expanding Frank's user base to an even more ambitious 10 million households. However, her carefully constructed empire of lies was about to come crashing down. Unbeknownst to JP Morgan, the foundation of Frank's supposed success was built on deception. The company's claimed user base of over 4 million students was a fabrication, a carefully constructed illusion designed to entice investors. When JP Morgan requested access to Frank's user data as part of the due diligence process, Charlie panicked. Desperate to maintain the facade, she resorted to a brazen act of fraud. Charlie instructed Frank's director of engineering to fabricate the missing data, creating fake user profiles to make up the difference. The director of engineering, alarmed by Charlie's request and the potential legal ramifications, refused to comply. Undeterred, Charlie sought help elsewhere, turning to a former college professor with a background in data analysis. She reportedly paid the professor $18,000 to create a dataset that would meet JP Morgan's requirements, effectively buying her way out of a desperate situation. The fabricated data, containing over 4 million fake user profiles, was fed through a third-party validator, a common practice in mergers and acquisitions to verify the accuracy of critical information. However, this victory would prove to be short-lived. With the fabricated data in hand, Charlie Javice successfully navigated the final stages of the JP Morgan acquisition. The bank, satisfied with the third-party validator's report, remained oblivious to the elaborate deception underpinning the deal. On September 14, 2021, the acquisition officially closed, marking a significant milestone in Charlie's carefully constructed narrative of success. She was now a managing director at one of the world's most powerful financial institutions, a position that brought with it immense prestige and a $20 million retention bonus. She had convinced a sophisticated financial giant to shell out $175 million for a company built on a foundation of lies. It speaks to a profound lack of moral compass and a willingness to exploit the trust of others for personal gain. Despite her initial triumph, Charlie's carefully constructed house of cards was inherently unstable. The fabricated data, while convincing enough to secure the acquisition, could not withstand sustained scrutiny. In January 2022, just a few months after the deal closed, JP Morgan initiated a marketing campaign targeting Frank's purported user base. The bank, eager to leverage its newly acquired asset, planned to promote its financial products to the millions of students they believed Frank had access to. However, the campaign's results were disastrous. The dismal response rate raised red flags within JP Morgan, prompting them to investigate further. As JP Morgan delved deeper into Frank's operations, the extent of Charlie Javice's deception became increasingly apparent. The bank's internal investigation quickly uncovered the fabricated data, exposing the truth about Frank's inflated user base. Investigators discovered emails between Charlie and the professor she had hired to create the fake data, providing irrefutable evidence of her fraudulent activities. The revelation of Charlie's fraud sent shockwaves through JP Morgan. The fallout was swift and severe. In a last-ditch effort to salvage her reputation and potentially mitigate the legal fallout, Charlie Javice filed a countersuit against JP Morgan in April 2023. She alleged that the bank had rushed the acquisition and failed to conduct proper due diligence, attempting to shift blame for the fraudulent data onto her former suitor. However, her claims lacked merit and were widely seen as a desperate attempt to deflect responsibility for her actions. By this point, the legal walls were closing in on Charlie. She faced accusations of wire fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy, each carrying the potential for significant prison time. The weight of Charlie Javice's deception pressed down on her as JP Morgan's legal team meticulously built their case. The bank, determined to recoup its losses and hold her accountable for her actions, pursued every legal avenue available. The evidence against Charlie was overwhelming, leaving her with little room to maneuver. The fabricated data, the incriminating emails, and the testimony of key witnesses painted a damning picture of a calculated scheme driven by greed and ambition. Charlie's carefully curated image as a visionary entrepreneur crumbled overnight, replaced by the harsh reality of her fraudulent actions. Headlines blared with accusations of deceit, greed, and a stunning breach of trust. As the legal proceedings played out, Charlie Javice's once bright future dimmed considerably. The accolades and recognition she had accumulated over the years, from her inclusion on prestigious lists to her glowing media portrayals, now rang hollow. Things got so bad in 2023 she was named in Forbes' 30 Under 30 Hall of Shame. The legacy she had hoped to build, one of innovation and social impact, lay in ruins, buried under the weight of her deceit. Her story highlighted the importance of due diligence, the need for skepticism even when confronted with charismatic individuals peddling compelling narratives. In the face of mounting evidence and the prospect of a lengthy and damaging trial, Charlie Javice's legal options dwindled. Her attempts to shift blame onto JP Morgan proved futile, as the bank's legal team effectively dismantled her counterclaims. The court of public opinion had already rendered its verdict, casting Charlie Javice as a symbol of corporate greed and deceit. The outcome of the trial would send a message, not only to Charlie Javice, but to the entire business world, about the consequences of betraying trust and the importance of conducting oneself with integrity. After weeks of testimony, mountains of evidence, and intense courtroom drama, the fate of Charlie Javice rested in the hands of the jury. The weight of their decision pressed down on the courtroom, a palpable tension filling the air. Charlie, once a picture of youthful confidence, now appeared visibly shaken, the toll of her deception etched on her face. The jurors, tasked with separating truth from fiction, they deliberated, carefully considering the evidence presented. The prosecution, armed with a compelling narrative and a mountain of evidence, presented a devastating case. They meticulously laid out the details of Charlie's elaborate scheme, highlighting her calculated efforts to mislead JP Morgan and secure the $175 million acquisition through fabricated data and outright lies. The defense, fighting an uphill battle, attempted to portray Charlie as a naive entrepreneur who had made mistakes but ultimately lacked the intent to defraud. Finally, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. Charlie Javice was found guilty on all counts, her fate sealed by the weight of her own actions. Charlie Javice, once hailed as a visionary entrepreneur, was now a convicted criminal, her carefully crafted image shattered into a million pieces. She is now facing up to 30 years in prison, but while she is awaiting sentencing, she has informed the court she can't wear an ankle monitor before her sentencing because she teaches Pilates.